Hey, this is Guido with a tactics talk. Let's talk about how to lose by being too passive. We got a good example here from the enemy team. We are on steps, fairly even setup on both sides. They've got quite a few TDs, and this is going to play into why they are so passive. Let's see how it starts to pan out. I am heading over here to the key terrain, or some of the key terrain on the 1-2 line. Now we are on encounter. So there is a large argument for sending a good force over here towards the cap to at least screen it, if not actually sweep them out of there and then set up screening forces out here, put a couple, maybe one tank on and force some cap pressure. But this area also needs to be handled. You can't just let them sweep through and come around and flank you, at least not quickly. So I will head over here to these rocks in my medium, and we've got quite a few forces going over here. Let's see what happens with the enemy team. As I move forward, I always go for these rocks, or nearly always go for these rocks instead of sit back. This is key terrain for this side. If you're going to come over here, take a shot as I go and miss. And you can see they've already invested a few decent forces up here. We got a Carnarvon, Charioteer, KV-85. There's a few more forces that you'll see. Now, right away, they are not being very aggressive. I can tell that they're happy, and this is not a great idea, stopping right there. They are pretty happy with sitting back behind these rocks here and not pushing into them. So they've already given up some key terrain. But you'll notice that there's not a lot of our forces here. Just the Tiger II and myself, and the Tiger II took some hits getting there. But they're not pushing in. Now we have some forces headed over to the cap, quite a few of our faster tanks. So they're starting to probe over there and reconnoiter, see what they can find. And I'm carefully looking around over here to what's happening. Shot goes right over the KV-2. But again, they're sitting out in that flat open space. I've taken these rocks and I can now use this cover. And they are out in the open. So I can minimize my exposure by side scraping or popping out quickly and firing. But they are just sitting ducks right there. A bit of a bush there I can sort of use. Playing this patiently. Okay, here comes the 85. Put a shot on the Charioteer. I will later wish I had killed him. You can see our forces are now over on the cap, meeting their first tanks. They're going to sweep through them pretty good. The question is, where are the rest of their tanks? Now remember, they were largely TDs. Well, they're all happy to sit back there in those rocks. They also happen to be on the G line over G7, G8. Continue to fight. And again, just the Tiger II and me. They have plenty of tanks over here. Now we're starting to knock them down. That hurt. And the KV-2 is just happy to stare in one spot. I will out reload that guy, so I'm going to come across here, even though I take another HE shot, I think, from the Charioteer. Had he actually been shooting AP, I probably would have been done. And we've knocked a couple of them out. But again, just a couple of us there. There is a Scorpion in the back, so they are wise to be careful with that. But they could easily get up into these rocks and take me down. I'm sitting here on 81 hit points. We now own 2/3 to 3/4 of the map because they've been way too passive. So that's what I talked about. The title of this is How to Lose Being Passive. And this is exactly what they're doing. And we're gobbling up more maps, so they don't really have a lot of places to hide. Now the Karen, I think, has sort of figured it out. Maybe he needs to do something. But he's a very indecisive player, as you'll end up finding out. Unfortunately, the Tiger II drives right into his shot. So here he comes. Trying to bait my shot, so shot discipline and patience. He's over angled, so I'll just put one right in his side and back up. Now had he just pushed into me and chased me around, there is no way I would have survived that. There is a Scorpion G back there, so he is cognizant of that. What you really need to do is come around the inside. But you can see that, where are all of them? The TDs, they're all sitting on 4-5 line, all camping in the back, stuffed into 1/4 of the map. Extremely passive team. So I would imagine a lot of them thought, well, I'm in a TD, and TDs are supposed to sit back and snipe. Well, unfortunately, this is an encounter map, and you've got to move your gun forward to where it can be useful. Otherwise, you get what's happening to you here. Probably a pretty easy win for them based on the tanks they have and how many of us they've already destroyed. But just sitting back, and all lit. All lit, getting hammered. And again, the Carnarvon, all he had to do was come around that corner and take me out. Finally decides to go. Now he's going to turn back around. Guy cannot make a decision. Well, they're starting to win now. But where are they? They're all stuffed into the corner, so even if they are winning, there's not much they can do with it right now. 37 seconds, we got guys sitting on the cap. And at this point, I'm just trying to hold this Carnarvon off as long as I can. I'll whittle him down if I can, but there's no reason to die. IS-2 sort of figured out. Here he comes. Got him dead. Why the guy did not charge me as soon as he saw his IS-2 coming, I don't know. Gets himself up on that rock and can't actually shoot at me. And continues to chase. Turns his turret away to take on the Scorpion G, even though I'm the one-shot kill. And we end up winning. I'll take him out, and then I get waxed by the T-37 comes raging in. Oh no! Okay. So 2,600 damage is not terrible. Spent a lot of time playing Ring Around the Rosie with the Carnarvon, but as you watch the rest of the map, and I talked about it, it's a very passive team, content to sit back in one corner of the map and snipe because we're in TDs, and that's what TDs do. Well, not really. Not exactly. That's a passive TD play. But if you're in a TD, you need to move forward. If you see an overmatch like you saw in this corner, you need to move forward. You got to stop letting the rest of the players on your team be the active players. And that is a good example right there of how to lose by being passive. Take it easy.